Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. Got a special guest, drove all the way up here, took a train from New Jersey to be here to spend an hour with you and me. And you know what? I guess I'm going to introduce him first, and then we're going to show a clip. The Fabulous Gabriel.
Bob, how are you today? It's
Nice
great
to
to be
see you.
here again.
Yeah. How long ago were you here? Last year, over a year ago?
I think about 2-3 years ago.
That really? Was
Yes,
that long
I
ago?
think 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was
Wow.
before the sickness came out, the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah. We did a show then. It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
And I came back on the train again, and I froze on the train.
You said that.
Amtrak, they got to put their thermostat down a little bit. I
a
was
little
all
too-
laid up.
Yep.
And
A little too cold for you, huh?
a little too cold, but I'm getting old, so so I'm more susceptible.
Well, it's getting a little cold for me here. Once in a while I like them, they turn it off for like 10 minutes and then turn it back on.
It's beautiful here.
It's nice now.
All right, I'll take my glasses off.
Take your glasses off.
Okay.
All right. There he is,
Hi,
the
everyone.
Fabulous Gabriel. Anyway, we're going to talk about your book, first
Yes.
of all, right?
Yeah.
But actually, we're going to show a little clip.
Okay.
We're going to show the book. We're going to put the book up there, and we're
Okay.
going to play the audio.
All right.
All right?
That sounds great.
Let's do that right now.
The book, Marilyn Monroe, The Lost Diary. So shocking, never before written in paperback. The story behind the story. Read about the mysterious death of one of the century's most popular icons, Marilyn Monroe. Did she die from an accidental overdose? Or was there a conspiracy of murder stemming from the White House? Or did the mob order her death? Learn the unbelievable truth never before revealed to the public. Whatever happened on that last weekend in 1962 of July 27th to the 29th, when Marilyn Monroe visited the Calneva Lodge and Casino at Lake Tahoe that led up to her untimely death. Does Marilyn Monroe's lost diary still exist? Hidden from the public? Are certain government officials in Washington, D.C. trying to hide the real truth of a love triangle between President Kennedy and his brother, the Attorney General Bobby Kennedy, romancing Marilyn Monroe and then dumping her? Was Marilyn Monroe's diary destroyed along with its stately secrets years ago? Or is the lost diary still hidden today at a secret location revealed by the Fabulous Gabriel in his book, Marilyn Monroe, The Lost Diary? Read it, and then you will know. Marilyn Monroe, The Lost Diary.
We're back on An Hour with Bob with the Fabulous Gabriel. Came all the way up from New Jersey to be on our show. And we'll get into his history and his connection to Rhode Island. But first, I want to show the magazine cover. Or what is this, the Inquirer?
The Examiner.
Inquirer?
The Examiner.
Oh, the Examiner.
Yeah. Well, that's an Inquirer.
Yeah,
Examiner.
we used
They're
to
all-
call it the Inquirer.
It's all the same newspaper.
Thing. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Now, this is your story?
That was my information that they took from my interview a few years ago, and they published it in the Examiner, and they used my information.
Yep. Now, you had a
from the
statement
book.
you want to read about your information? Is that what that's about?
Well, yeah, I just want to make a short statement so that people can understand where I got, how I came about getting the information.
Right. About Marilyn Monroe.
About Marilyn Monroe. And first of all, I want to say one thing. It's always a renewed pleasure, as James Bond would say, to see you again. And it's great to be here in Rhode Island. I was born here.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to get
Many
into
years
that.
ago. Many years ago.
Many moons ago.
But anyway, let me read this short statement, okay?
Yep.
Let me say this. Marilyn Monroe was born June 1st, 1926, and she died August 4th, 1962. Now, my book is based upon fictional accounts with real events. Marilyn Monroe died under suspicious circumstances on the night of August 4th, 1962. Now, more than 50 years of speculations and misguided assertions and theories have came about, but no one knows the real truth of what happened inside Marilyn Monroe's home in Brentwood, California.
California.
Actually, it was the same a city that the O.J. Simpson murder came about. What happened that night on August 4th? The only people that know is Marilyn Monroe, God bless her, and the 3 people who were responsible for her death. In my book, I claim, and so do others, the 3 people responsible for Marilyn Monroe's death are Bobby Kennedy, Peter Lawford, and Dr. Ralph Greenson. In 1983, before his death and out of guilt, Peter Lawford admitted he was a co-conspirator along with his brother-in-law, Bobby Kennedy, and Marilyn Monroe's psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson, involving themselves on causing Marilyn Monroe's death.
Now, he admitted that?
Yeah, he was on his deathbed and he admitted that to people, yeah.
Peter Lawford.
Yeah. Peter Lawford was
he was a brother-in-law of the Kennedys.
The brother-in-law of the Kennedys, and he was an unwilling accomplice. And he had this guilt all his life, and because Marilyn Monroe and Peter Lawford were kind of close. And, he had to participate in this situation. Now, how we know this is because there were tapes that were confiscated by the government, because the FBI, the mafia, and Bobby Kennedy's own people had tapes that were, they bugged the house, okay? And in 1980...
They said Bobby Kennedy bugged the house.
Yeah, Bobby Kennedy bugged
when he was
the house.
Attorney General?
Yes. And
What was that, 1962?
1962, yeah. And in 1982, to substantiate what we're saying here, new people who bought Marilyn Monroe's home, they did some reconstruction of the house.
Right.
And in the walls and on the roof, they found bugging equipment that was left all those years.
Yeah, wow.
So we know that the
Well,
tapes
that only
did
proves
exist.
that somebody bugged the house.
Yeah,
That doesn't
so
prove
we know that the tapes did exist and all this information. So on these tapes that were confiscated from all these buggings, okay, the actual murder of Marilyn Monroe was probably recorded.
Wow.
Now we say murder because they.
Well, she supposedly died of an overdose.
An overdose that was administered to her by. How do I want to say it on TV?
You watch it.
A laced enema, okay, which we could go into that later on.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that happened here that's been covered up throughout the years. Now, how I got my information, I interviewed people. I read government reports. Actually, one of the people that I interviewed was Phyllis McGuire of the McGuire sisters before she passed away.
Yeah.
And
What'd she have to do with it?
She was the girlfriend of Sam Giancana, and she was one of the McGuire sisters. And
Sam Giancana.
Sam Giancana, he was the mafia chief from Chicago.
Right.
And she told me that she was up at the Cal Neva on July 27th through
What is the Cal Neva?
All right, let me explain the Cal. The Cal Neva was a casino that Frank Sinatra in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
That Frank Sinatra was supposed to be the owner of, and he was the chief person involved. But actually, he was the front man for the
mob.
Yeah, for the mob.
Well, they always claimed that Frank Sinatra was in the mob.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so.
Now, what was it, the Cal Neva? What is it now? Because I've been to Lake Tahoe a few times.
The Cal Neva is closed right now.
Oh, is it?
They were doing.
Because you can have Harold's and Bally's up there now. Those are the big casinos.
Yeah. They were under construction to update everything, and make a new casino out of it, but it's been closed. It's actually changed hands a couple of times in the
Really?
last 8 years.
Was it right on the same strip as the Bally's and
No, you're talking.
no, not Harris, not Bally's, Harris and Harold's.
Yeah.
They were on each side of the street. On stateside California and Lake Tahoe, Nevada.
And it's a funny thing. If you've never been out to Lake Tahoe,
I love it.
at
I
the
love
Cal
Lake
Neva
Tahoe.
Casino, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, you could stand in 2 states at one time.
Right, yeah.
In the ballroom, there was a thick yellow line, okay? And
You could be in one
you
state,
could put
yep.
your foot here, put
Yep.
your foot there, and the line in between, and you'd be
I
in 2
did it.
states at once.
I did it.
You
I
did
used
that?
I used to go to, my cousin lived in Antioch, California,
Yeah.
which is right over the
Yes.
mountains. And we used to drive across Donner's Pass.
Donors Pass, yes.
Donner's or Donner's
Don-
Pass.
yeah.
We used to drive across there into Lake Tahoe and go, I played poker.
Yeah.
And in Harold's Casino or in Harrod. It had to be Harris. I think it was Harris.
The Hyatt Regency, they used to, in Lake Tahoe. Actually, I lived in Lake Tahoe for almost 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
We went to look at it. We went to look at one of those timeshares, and it was in Heavenly. That was where Sonny Bono ate a tree.
Yeah, yeah.
He kissed a tree down
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
That's where he died, by the way.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, that was right up there. Yeah, right there. Actually, I used to live maybe a quarter of a mile from there, from Heavenly.
Now, how did you end up in New Jersey?
I ended up in New Jersey. Well,
Let me change that. Let me change that.
That's a
You're
story
born
and a
you're
half.
born in Rhode Island.
I was born in Rhode Island,
Where?
in Providence, and I lived
Where?
in North Providence.
Okay.
And then I went to North Providence High School. And then I got into the music business. I was playing the saxophone with my brother Michael. Yeah.
Who's here? Yeah.
And we had a trio called the Charles Slack Trio. That was me playing the saxophone, and my brother playing the Hammond organ, and Bobby, who was the drummer.
Bobby who?
I forgot his last name. It's been so many years. And we played in the nightclubs like the Erin Lounge, the Pirates Den. Do you remember them?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember the Pirates
Yeah,
then.
yeah, and the lounges and what was that other club there? Well, anyway, that's how I started. And then I went out to California, and I stayed with my grandmother for a while when she was living there, and I liked it. And then
Oh, she was from there, your grandmother?
yeah. And
Where?
then
Where in California?
Arcadia.
Oh, yeah.
Arcadia. It's right outside of Hollywood there, maybe about 8 miles or so. And I remember we used to go to the racetrack. I used to take her, she took me
Right.
to the racetrack. What's it, Hollywood Park?
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or
And
Santa-
it was
Santa
a
Anita.
real nice racetrack.
Oh,
It was-
beautiful.
It was thoroughbred racing. And I'll never forget, there were nice red carpets everywhere, you know, and the grandstands, they have red carpets. It's a nice
Well,
racetrack.
that could have been Santa Ana. Santa Ana Park, I was out there too. That's
Yeah.
another nice park
Yeah.
out there in California.
Yeah. Excuse me, Santa Ana. That's the track, and yeah.
Because there's a Hollywood Park in
Yeah,
Fort
I'm
Lauderdale,
thinking of something
Hollywood,
else. Yeah,
Florida.
Yeah.
Which is also a very nice
Yeah.
track. I was into horses when I was a kid. I worked at the tracks when I was a kid.
In fact, when I was a younger person in life, we used to go to Narragansett Racetrack.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
worked at Narragansett
And then, how about Lincoln?
Lincoln Downs, too.
Lincoln Downs
and Suffolk.
The dog racing.
Well, before the dogs, there was horses.
Yeah.
There was
Do you
horses.
want to know something? Not to get off the track.
But you're going-
I mean, we're going all over the place.
Yeah.
Here, but this is good. It's entertaining, right?
Yeah.
It's entertainment. Do you know how dog racing started?
How dog racing started? No.
Does anybody out there know?
They're not going to
Well, I
answer.
know.
know. How?
In Reading, Pennsylvania,
Yep.
they had, don't laugh, they had monkeys mounted on greyhounds,
Yeah.
and they strapped them in. And if you've ever been to a dog racing track, okay, which a lot of them they don't have anymore. They're banned because the animal people don't like what happens to the dogs when they can get hurt.
Sure.
When they go around the first turn, they collide sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Or they go wide.
Yeah, they go
and
wide.
Hit the fence.
And they got hurt, and they stopped having the monkeys on the dogs, and that's how dog racing started.
Really?
And up in Lincoln Park here, when they had the dog racing, there were pictures of the monkeys on the dogs. They had
Really?
pictures, yeah. And,
Are they still there in Lincoln?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know before the renovations. No, now it's Bally's Casino.
Right,
you know,
right.
Which is a nice casino, you know. Yeah.
So let's get back to you. So you grew up in Providence, right? You went to North Providence High School. And when did you leave us? What year?
Oh, I went on and off, back and forth to my grandmother's,
Right.
back and forth.
My
for a while.
grandfather used to live in Newport Beach, California, in Lido Sod, if you know where that is.
No.
Lido Sod's a little tiny island right in the harbor of Newport Beach. And there's a causeway over to it. Big money, real big money. And my mother was an only child. And when he died, by the way, before that, I used to go visit him
Yeah.
every year or so, sometime every other year. And I was the only one in the family that did. But my mother was his only child, and they were in contact all the time. And he had moved out there, and he married a woman my mother's age, and he had a son my age, which was ironic, but not from my grandfather. And a year before he died, she and her son brought my age-old grandfather into the lawyer's office, the same law office that they use for the series LA Law,
Yeah.
the biggest law firm in the country. 17 floors of lawyers. You ever want to get rid of the lawyers? That's all you got to do.
That's a lot of lawyers.
Oh, you ever want to get rid of the lawyers? All you got to do is do a number on that building.
Wow.
Anyway, I go for the reading of the will. My grandfather was worth between $15 and $30 million.
Yeah.
In fact, one of his tenants, he had a 14-unit condo complex in Casa Mesa, and one of his tenants, and I thought he was bullying me, telling me, he goes, yeah, one of my tenants is Gregory Peck, To Kill a Mockingbird, as you know. And I said, yeah, come on, Gramps. He goes, no, he is. Come on, let's take a ride. So I had a rental car, and we drove over to the condo complex and guarded place, and we get let in by the guard, and we go over and pull in front of this. He says, pull over there. So I pull over there. He goes, go ring the guy's door. Go ring that doorbell. I said, I'm not ringing anybody's doorbell. He goes, well, then just look at under the doorbell, the name. It was Peck, but that didn't mean anything to me. So I took a shot and I rang the doorbell. Door opens, and sure enough, it was Gregory Peck. And my grandfather said to him, he goes, hey, Pecker. He says, hey, Pecker, this is my grandson. He didn't believe that you're one of my tenants. I got the biggest kick out of that when he called him that. But he had a lot of real estate. He owned a lot of real estate, and plus where he lived, his house was worth, I don't know, a couple $1 million. Anyway, I go to the reading of the will. My mother got nothing. Only child, and she got nothing. Wow. So I leave there totally, shocked. I get in the elevator, and like the makings of a movie. Just as the door's ready to close, this briefcase gets in the door, stop it from closing. So the door opens, and this guy comes on the elevator. Obviously, he was a lawyer, dressed up. And door closed. We started going down. We're on the 17th floor now. We start going down. He hits the button to stop it. I'm wondering, what's going on here? He says, you should protest that will. I go, why? He goes, I was here.
Contest them, will.
Contest it, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's exactly what he said. He says, you should contest that will. I says, no, forget it. He didn't want to give my mother. Oh, no, that's not true. He says, they brought him in there the year before he died. His wife and the son, who was my age, who was from New Jersey, by the way. He owned a seafood importing business in New Jersey. Probably still does. he said they got him to totally change the will. Write your mother right out of the will, and you. So he says, I would go against that will.
Yeah.
So I called my mother here back in Rhode Island, and I told her that. She was all bent out of shape, and she screwed, hell with him, he didn't want to leave me nothing. I said, Mom, that's not the case. It wasn't him. He was a frail old man by this time. No, he wasn't. He knows, he should have known better about all this. And she didn't want to hear it, did not want to hear it. And where I messed up was, before I left to go out to California, I took my mother to an attorney, and I got power of attorney from my mother. So I could have went against my mother and protested the will, but I didn't. And I regret that, not having done that.
Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They say live and learn.
Yeah, live and learn. I could have been a millionaire. I could have been a millionaire.
I could have gotten a few situations back in life too. What are you going to do? We all, I guess. A lot
Now,
of
you
us do.
performed in Vegas?
Yeah.
Where?
The casinos.
Really?
All the casinos, yeah. I used to be in the show with Kenny Kerr, and I did some shows with Wayne Newton. And
How was Wayne Newton as a person?
fine, nice,
Really?
nice guy. Actually, I took his ex-wife into the studio. He asked me to do him a favor, and his ex-wife was a singer, the Hawaiian girl that he was first married to. And you know, we did a week in the studio with her. I produced some of the songs for her.
Really?
Yeah.
And what band were you with then? Were you with
I
your brother?
had my
and-
own band. I played at the Sahara, at the Congo room there, and I had 10 pieces at one time. I had a couple of girl singers in the background, and yeah, I did a little bit of this and a little bit of that
Right.
in the entertainment. Yeah.
So how long did you do it there in Vegas?
Oh, I was there for years.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was there for years. I only came back a few times. Actually, there was one time I came back, and my brother talked me into doing a business with him, and I stayed here for a year, and then I went back.
What kind of business?
Well, like an entertainment type of business, you know, with we had like a dancing type of a ballroom type of dancing thing, because at the time ballroom dancing was going big, so we put on a couple of shows and stuff like that, and we ran teen dances when I was back here with my brother too.
Do you remember Warner's in Pawtucket? It was
Warner's?
a dance hall
No.
in Pawtucket.
No.
Well, you're not being from Pawtucket, so.
No, but we, my brother and myself, ran a teen dance in Pawtucket at the Knights of Columbus Hall on every Saturday night, I guess it was. Yeah. You know, this stuff, I was back and forth for years.
Right.
Then I played in bands, a few well-known bands too. I played with Wilson Pickett, Gary U.S. Bonds.
Really?
Oh yeah, I played saxophone. That's
With Wilson Pickett, huh?
yeah. Actually, when he had Land of a Thousand Dances out
Yeah.
and was on the radio, I was young. I was going to Berklee's College of Music up in
Right.
Boston,
Right.
and I was in the practicing room, and they needed somebody to fill in because Felix, who was the
regular
main
sax.
saxophone guy who did the solo on the record, had to go back to Jamaica because his father was dying. So
Okay.
they needed a guy for a couple of weeks. So they asked me, so I filled in.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I played in front of a lot of people. Yeah.
I understand you're a pretty good songwriter, too. Is that true?
I write songs nobody wants to listen to. I write books nobody wants to read. I had, I just thought of this too. When I was first starting out, I had cream puffs thrown at me. I was doing a show one time,
The cream puffs?
and somebody threw a cream puff
I love those
at me.
things.
And I went like this
Yeah.
here, right? I went, oh, any more?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going to do?
It wasn't a rotten
The
tomato.
guy was drunk.
Better than a rotten tomato.
The guy was drunk. They had to take him out, but anyway. but you got to make a joke out of it. What are you going to
Yeah,
do?
of course, of course.
You know, but yeah. So I had a lot of experiences, jack of all trades. You know, so.
Yeah.
But then.
Getting back to the book. All these stories are hearsay, virtually, right? People are telling you it's third hand. I should say third hand or second hand.
Well, this is how I could explain it. I wasn't there
Right.
when this happened.
Right. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I've read government reports. I've talked to people. I've talked to, when I was writing the book, I called Sam Giacona's son, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, what I was saying in the book was true. And he says, yeah, because he has his own book out about his father and everything.
Right.
I forgot the title of it. But I wanted to make sure what I was writing is correct. And from my research of government papers and the interviews, etc., and different books, I must have about maybe 30, 40 books on Marilyn Monroe, and they all say the same kind of thing, only in their own little flavor.
Right.
In other words, everyone likes ice cream. You like vanilla, I like chocolate, but we're talking ice cream, okay? And that's the only way I could generalize what I came about writing. Now, I didn't want to just write another book about Marilyn Monroe and like a documentary. So I mixed fictional accounts with real events. Now let me explain what I'm trying to say. The real events in my book are real, okay?
Right.
But the fictional accounts is, I made a fictional character up that searches for Marilyn Monroe's diary that has never been found. In other words, the book is written like the movie The Da Vinci Code. The Knights Templar were real,
Right.
but the character, Tom Hanks's character,
Right.
is fictional.
Right.
So I interwove what I was trying to say here,
Yep.
and to keep the story, going. And I explain a lot. There's a lot of flashbacks in the movie.
Wait a minute, the movie or the book?
Excuse me, in the book, and I'm going to get to that.
You're jumping
the
ahead
movie
here,
thing,
yeah.
There's a lot of flashbacks in the story, okay, and it's interesting. You can read. The book isn't too long. I have people contacting me saying they pick up the book and they can't put it down, because a lot of writers write books and they fluff up things where they could say it in 2 or 3 lines. Mine's bing
Accentuate,
bang,
yeah.
bing bang. Yeah. So.
Sound like Jack Webb, just the facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the facts and fiction.
Or like Don Wrinkle's type of routine, the one-liners, but he says a lot in those
Right,
one-liners,
right.
and that's how I did it. And I'm not a great writer, but I mean I tried my best with the book, and I'm getting good response.
She was an interesting character. I mean, I was young when she was around. She was what, 1928? She was born 26?
No. She was born in 1926.
26.
She died in 62. She was 36.
62. She died.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful woman, absolutely beautiful woman. And there are a lot of rumors, substantiated rumors about her having an affair with John F. Kennedy, the president.
Oh, she did.
And Robert Kennedy, and
Robert.
supposedly they even had a threesome with her.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, I could elaborate on what you just said.
Go ahead.
She had an affair with the president. That's a known thing. And then old man Kennedy.
Joseph Kennedy.
Joseph Kennedy. I say old man Kennedy. Well, a lot of people terminate him like that. But
Right.
anyway, Joseph Kennedy, the father, told John Kennedy, the son, that they have to break off the relationship because it's bad for their career
Sure.
in politics. So the president sent Bobby Kennedy out to the West Coast to tell Marilyn
It's
that
all
she
over.
has to break off all
Right.
relations with the Kennedys.
Yep.
But instead of doing that, Bobby Kennedy started a relationship with her. And then she fell in love with Bobby Kennedy, okay? She liked Bobby Kennedy more than the president.
Right. I like Bobby Kennedy more than the president. He was
And-
my idol when I graduated with a degree in political science from Roger Williams, and he was my idol.
All right, I'm going to lead up to some interesting information here. So anyway, they had a relationship, okay? And what happened was, before Marilyn Monroe died, I'm going to say some heavy things about the situation.
Go ahead.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe went into the hospital to abort a baby that was believed Bobby Kennedy's.
Oh, that is heavy.
And the way the story goes, Bobby Kennedy promised Marilyn that he was going to marry her, okay, if she did this.
But wasn't he married at the time?
Yeah, he was going to leave his wife after
He had a
all
lot
the
of
kids
kids
and
too,
everything. Yeah.
Bobby Kennedy.
He promised her this, that, right? But then that could never
No, that wasn't going to happen.
So now, what happened was, Marilyn Monroe was upset, and she was going to call a news conference.
Right,
With
press
with,
conference.
with I believe Dorothy Kilgallen at the time, and
Where was she from?
she
Truth or
was going to
Consequences?
expose
She was on the TV series Truth or Consequences.
Truth and
wasn't she?
Consequences. Yeah, she died under mysterious circumstances too. But anyway, Marilyn Monroe was going to blow off the lid of all her relations with the Kennedys in a news conference, and which most people and most researchers believe that was the demise of her coming, of her death. And it got a little bit ugly, okay?
Yeah, to say the least.
Well, how much ugly yeah, it got really ugly. But anyway, like I said, Peter Lawford was trying to be a good guy with Marilyn Monroe, trying to calm her down and the night of when she died, but that didn't happen. And there's a conspiracy
Right.
that has been covered up all through these years, and it's a good conspiracy. So it's been covered up till this date, and in the book I say a lot of pros and cons, like why one thing happened because of another
Right,
thing.
right.
And it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how life is, and what things can happen to people, and
Well, certainly believable.
yeah,
Because she was out there. She was the most beautiful woman in America at the time.
yeah,
And the Kennedys had a reputation.
yeah,
So that part is believable.
yeah, yeah. So a lot of people say, well, why are you saying this? Why are you coming out saying these things?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
there's a lot of people saying the same thing. I'm not the only one. I'm only saying it in a different way. When I wrote the book, I didn't want to say it like everyone else is. I wrote fictional accounts with real events.
Right.
So, I tried to make it entertaining for the reader.
How long has the book been out?
About 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the reaction?
I get good reaction. If you go on Google, I get 5 stars.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And now a movie company is in pre-production, as they say, and actually it's the movie production company is Film 313. And
What does that mean? Is that the name of it?
That's the name of it, yeah. And they've written the script, and they've written actually 2 scripts, one for a movie and one for a TV series that Netflix is kind of interested in, and I got my fingers crossed with that. So.
So you end up with a piece of the action?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. The movie is going to be based on my story with a few changes in it.
Of course.
You know, and right now, if anyone wants any more information about it or to get involved with it, because they have, it takes a lot of money to film these things.
Right.
So so they're generating expenses. So, they could contact me, and I could, if they want to get involved, to have any information about Marilyn Monroe that probably I'm not saying or want to.
Oh, you mean if somebody else has information about Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah, so. Yeah.
They can get a hold of you.
Yeah, then I got give them my email.
Right.
And,
we can put it at the end of the show. We can put your email at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Now you think she was murdered, right?
Yeah.
Because she was given an enema, right? Was it an enema?
See,
how would that kill you?
Marilyn Monroe she took a Nebatol tablet to sleep. She had a bad sleeping disorder.
Right.
Okay. Plus, she had other sicknesses too.
Yep.
But anyway, she used to take a Nebatol pill at night, and maybe have a sip of milk or a little bit of champagne.
Yep.
Because she had problems swallowing pills, hit the pill and the bubbles or whatever it does.
Right.
If anyone ever drank champagne out there, it goes like,
Yeah.
So anyway, when she died, the pills of her prescriptions were gone. They were empty.
Empty.
All the pill bottles.
The bottle was there, but
yeah.
But there were no pills in it.
No pills in it. So now, in the autopsy, there was no residue of pills in her stomach.
Really?
There was no residue, crystallizations, they call it. And there was no dye from the pills. When you take a pill, it might be orange, blue,
right,
or red.
The color,
There was no color, okay? So she had all of these.
Good.
She had all of these poisons in her. How did she get it? From an enema. They laced an enema with all these drugs in it, and they gave it to her.
That's an odd way to kill somebody, I think, isn't it? Good way, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't expect that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because they look for puncture marks, you would think, right?
Yeah, and you could find this information that I just said in a lot of books. A lot of books that are out. People say the same thing in different ways.
Now, do you know a guy named Gino Russo?
Gianno
Russo.
Yeah, I know him.
Did you?
I know him from Vegas, yeah.
Yeah?
He was supposed to sing one of my songs, Never Gonna Feel That Feeling Again, but he never showed up at the studio.
Really?
Yeah.
I was with him
He was
last year. Interesting guy. Interesting
really
character.
interesting, yeah.
Now, he claims
That he was with Marilyn Monroe.
he had sex when he was 16 years old. He claims
Yeah.
he had sex with Marilyn Monroe.
He worked in a hairdressing
Hair salon.
hair salon. Yeah. Yeah, he was quite a guy.
And-
very sharp-looking guy too.
Yeah.
I have to say, I didn't know him very well, but I knew him when I was out there. Always used to dress to the nines. Boy, he had the best of clothes, and nice guy. He was dating, what's her name, Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick, right?
Dionne Warwick,
yeah.
yeah. Actually,
I heard that. He said that.
Actually, the day he was supposed to go in the studio, he didn't show up, so I called the house up. It and Dionne Warwick answered the phone. Well, he's in bed sleeping. He's in bed sleeping. He's supposed to be here at the studio.
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah, that's a true story.
Well, he was quite the character. You know, he claimed
Yeah.
he had connection with a lot of the mob back
Yeah,
then.
he
You know,
did.
Did he?
Yeah, he ran a nightclub
Yes.
in Las Vegas. I forgot the name of it. I used to go there too. And in the nightclub, he did his radio show too.
Right, right.
You know, he had a booth there, and he would be on the radio, and he would sing.
Yes.
He would sing. He's a good singer too. I don't know how he had it all together. There's too many things going on at once, but
Right, he did it.
He
Well, he's
did
one of those guys that, high energy guys.
yeah,
Could do a lot of things at the
it
same
was
time.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we had him, Joe Rocco interviewed him last year, or the year before last, right here in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty good. In fact, I got to hang out with him after the interview. After it was all over, we went out, and I got to talk with him for quite a while.
He has a good interview online. If you go Google about Marilyn Monroe, there's a segment that he did. It was
Yeah.
very good, very informative. Actually, I have his book. He has a book.
I have his book too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but
And he tells it again, the story about not only he didn't just have sex with her once, he kind of hung out with her for a while.
yeah.
And he was 16, she was probably 19 or 20 at the time.
Well, she was living in New York at the time,
Really?
and she was going to the actors studio, that Lee Strasberg, the studio in New York.
Right.
It's a famous acting school that people went to. Yeah. So, but anyway, going back to the book, I was a little bit reluctant on writing about the subject of Marilyn Monroe, you know, but a couple of years, the book has been about four years now. 2 years before that, I was on a family vacation,
Right.
and somebody told me, you know a lot about Marilyn Monroe, because I've been doing this for years. And he says, there was a little segment on 60 Minutes. He says, I said, oh, I missed it. He says, you know so much about it, right? Why don't you write a book?
Oh, that's what got you
So
into doing it.
that's what got me going. And how I got interested in Marilyn Monroe is when I was a child. My mother had magazines about Marilyn Monroe
Right.
and books and
Well,
so
she
on.
was the hottest. She was the hottest ticket going.
So I knew who this lady was.
Right.
So she was appearing. Marilyn Monroe was appearing in Hartford, Connecticut, because she wasn't filming at the time, and I was a toddler, about 9, 10 years old, and my father went fishing, and my mother wanted to go see Marilyn in Hartford, Connecticut,
Right.
because at the time Marilyn Monroe was appearing with ribbon cutting ceremonies, like at a
Sure.
strip mall or something
Yep,
like that,
yep.
making appearances. So my mother and myself went to Hartford, Connecticut, and we were running a little bit late, and Marilyn Monroe was about maybe 80, 90 feet away from about 100 feet away from us on a makeshift stage, and she saw me because I had a white pants and a red shirt on, and she
So you
called.
stood out,
yeah,
in
she-
other
yeah,
words.
stood out. She called me up to the stage there, right?
Really?
Because there wasn't that many people there, and she kissed me on my left cheek, and I didn't want to wash my face. for a while.
Yeah. For 50
So,
years.
and my mother almost fainted. Okay.
Really?
'Cause you know.
Yeah.
And she actually signed a publicity photo, Marilyn. I have it in my house.
You still have it?
Oh yeah, yeah, I have it. So that's how this all got started. Besides the music business that I'm in, so I do, you know, I.
You still playing?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where in Jersey?
No, I don't go out live playing. I still write. And you had Arrow Rose here.
Right,
on
I was
your
going to talk
program.
about her, yeah.
And, I produced all her music for her. And she's an extremely talented girl.
She is.
She needs a break.
Oh, she does need a break.
We have a song out called Damaged. That
Oh, I love it.
people
I
could
love that song.
Yeah, Damaged by Arrow Rose. Google it. You'll like it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Or
good song.
go on YouTube. You see it on YouTube.
You know something? We videoed that song in New Jersey at a hotel.
Did a nice job in that song. Did a nice job. You know who she looks like in that song? She looks like a young Madonna.
Yeah, yeah. But we filmed that in New Jersey off the boardwalk.
Really?
In New Jersey, and it's at a hotel. You would think you're in Europe when you look at that video.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And she's done a couple other songs since then, right?
Yeah.
She's got three other hits, two or three other hits.
Yeah.
She went out to California.
Yeah. Yeah. And, actually, she did a song with a rapping song. Yeah.
She got a rapping song?
Yeah, a rapping song.
She don't strike me as a rapper, though. She's a beautiful girl.
No, I say not her. Point Blank is the rapper that's inserted in the song.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because she don't strike me as a rapper.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a good song. Yeah, I had fun with her in the studio with her and her father Bill.
We did a Zoom show with her.
Yeah, she's
I'd love
good.
to get her here in the studio, and I've talked to her father, Bill, right?
Yeah.
A few times.
She gives a great
Nice
interview.
guy. Yeah, I'm sure that would be.
You would
I'd
think
love
that
to
she
have
was
him here.
doing that for years. Unbelievable.
And she plays the piano.
Yeah, yeah. She plays
She's a
the piano.
talented girl. Like you said, she just needs a break.
Yeah, yeah.
She got Hector pushing her.
Yeah, Hector from Entertainment Resources in Pawtucket.
Hector's a great guy.
Yeah, Hector is
very energetic.
unbelievable.
He's on top of everything.
Yeah.
He really works hard for anybody he supports. Anybody he pushes, he really works hard for them.
Can I give somebody a plug? Gary from Woodlawn Automotives. Gary. You want to know something?
I love Gary.
I don't call him Gary.
No?
I call him Broderick.
Broderick Crawford. Oh, most people are not going to know who that is. Broderick Crawford.
Isn't it amazing?
Highway Patrol.
It looks like he came up from the dead.
Yeah, Broderick Crawford. Oh my God.
Do you know when I lived in Las Vegas, the real Broderick Crawford?
Right.
He used to drive around in an old Buick with the windows down. It said Broderick Crawford, Highway Patrol on the side of his car. Yeah.
Because that was the name of the show, Broderick Crawford.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
and this was obviously after
yeah,
his show, because the show was on in the 50s, right?
yeah.
And it was in black and white, I think,
See it?
if I recall.
Why don't we skip this? Because now you're showing our age.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but if people want to tell me if they know something about Marilyn Monroe that hasn't been mentioned, please email me.
Well, what's your email? We can talk about that.
It's slack, SLACKENT @comcast.net.
Say it again.
SLACKENT @comcast.net. So you could email me. I love it. I'll get back to you.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Now, you did a Christmas song too?
I did a Christmas song that's coming out this fall. And November 22nd is the release date on it. It's called Christmas Will Last Forever. And it's July, so it's Christmas in July now.
Right.
So if you want to play a little bit of it for half of 30 seconds or so, that'd be fine, But
We might be able to throw that in.
yeah, so, but yeah. Anyway, it's great to be here in Rhode Island. I kind of miss it, and every time I come back here, I have my brother drive me around to see things that maybe have changed.
Well, yeah, things have got to change
Yeah.
now and then, right?
Yeah. And we caught beautiful weather. I've been here for a couple of days now. It's gorgeous.
A little
weather.
warm for me. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not liking the warm weather.
Yeah.
You like the warm weather. I don't like the warm weather.
Yeah.
I like the warm weather. I don't like the hot weather.
Yeah.
When it's 90, I don't like that. 80's beautiful. 90, not so much.
Well, when I lived in Las Vegas, it was 110
Oh my
degrees.
God! They just set another record in Vegas the other day.
Yeah, Death Valley.
No, Vegas.
In Vegas?
122.
I heard it was 130 in Death
Yeah,
Valley.
132 in Death Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Palm Springs was up there too. Yeah, I couldn't. I don't know how people can handle weather. And they say, oh, it's a dry heat. It's a dry. No, it's hot.
That's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot. You could get dehydrated really fast.
Yes.
You have to drink a lot of water. But let me tell you something. You'll get dehydrated a lot faster in the cold weather out there. That's a known fact.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason. And in the wintertime, you could layer yourself up with a T-shirt, a sweater, another sweater, a blanket over you. But when that cold weather, it gets cold out there,
Yeah.
it goes right through you. It's not like
Yeah.
there's no moisture. And there's a big temperature change
From day to night.
From day to night. You could have 80 degrees during the day,
Yep.
and it'll go down to 20 at night.
Oh, I know.
In the desert there.
Yeah.
You've experienced
Well,
it.
Vegas is in the
Yeah.
desert. Yeah. Yeah, I've been to Vegas a couple times.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Mount Charleston?
No.
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 No. It was, my brother came out to visit me, and it was like 90 degrees. It wasn't that warm that day, but we went up to Mount Charleston, and the people skiing. It's only like 45
yeah?
minutes away, yeah. Yeah.
I got to Vegas one time. It was raining, and it doesn't usually rain in
No.
Vegas.
No, when
and
it
was
rains, watch
raining.
out.
Unbelievable raining.
Yeah. Now that you mention that, when it rains in Las Vegas, you have to be very careful driving, because when it's so hot,
Right.
there's I don't know,
Steam.
the soot from the tires from the cars out there stick on the road.
Right.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. And then when it rains, it's like dry. It's like ice.
Oh yeah.
You can't stop. It's just you gotta watch out when you drive when it rains out there. It's a different driving than here in Rhode Island when.
Well, and they can't drive in ice. If they had ice, they couldn't drive it. It's like people in
No, I'm not saying it's ice.
No, I know but it's like ice. It's like
It
that.
feels like that when
Right,
you're driving.
right.
And yeah.
That made me think of Texas when they last winter they had a couple ice storms and people were trying to drive in it. They couldn't handle driving in it because they weren't used to it and not accustomed to it.
Yeah, but so as far as the book now is concerned, I dedicated the book to someone that I knew very well.
And who would that be?
It was
Betty Lambert.
Betty Lambert. Yeah.
Now who's Betty Lambert?
Betty Lambert was I'm still friends with her daughter, Betty Lambert's daughter, Kathy Conti. For 64 years, I've known this girl. My brother and myself, when we lived in Providence, Rhode Island, we kind of grew up together. And we went to school and everything. And her mother always used to treat us well. She used to she used to make.
Well, that's
sandwiches for
that's
us
a French
and stuff
name.
like that.
So you didn't get meatballs, right?
No.
That's a French name.
No.
Lambert.
And she used to, in the summertime when we were kids, give us cold drinks and stuff. Very, very accommodating woman.
Right.
So I said to myself, I'm going to dedicate it to her.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Does she know it?
She's passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, she passed away. So.
The fictional character of John Clark is now faced with a life-changing pursuit. Robert Blake, another fictional character. Well, there was a Robert Blake, though. He was the Beretta.
Yeah.
Fictional character. And the reason for John Clark's quest, Blake, an FBI agent, kept secret files about the death of Marilyn Monroe and the whereabouts of her lost diary, hidden in secrecy within a storage unit. Now, they found this in a storage unit, you're saying? They found her diaries in a storage unit.
No.
They didn't find them.
John Clark, I'll explain the story a little bit. John Clark was a state trooper that was going to be retired in 2 weeks. This is a fictional character. And it was a terrible rainstorm. And in the terrible rainstorm, he was sitting in his patrol car, you know, beside on the side of the highway, you know,
right.
For like maybe with a radar out or something.
Right, sure.
Okay, and all of a sudden these two cars go spinning by really fast. Okay, and so he puts the emergency light on, he chases, and one car lost control, flipped over. And now he had to make a decision. Does he go after the other car or try to help the person?
Right.
Yeah. So he stopped and he called in. So he's got other cars coming out after the first car. And this gentleman was dying, and he said, "I could trust you." The gentleman dying said, "I could trust you," who is John Clark, because he had the uniform on. And he gave him a key. And he said, "Here's the key." And he said, "Make sure you keep this. And go to where the key is." And then he dies. He doesn't say it like that, but
Right,
you know,
right.
I'm trying to say it so people can understand. And that's what happens. So now John Clark has got the key, and he doesn't know what to do with it.
He doesn't know where it goes.
Yeah, but he doesn't know what to do with it, whether to turn it in
Right.
to the police or keep
what
it
is-
himself.
what does he do?
So
'Cause
he
we are running out of
he
time.
keeps it. So he keeps it.
Yep.
And he finds out where the key is, where it goes to, and everything. It's a long story there.
Right.
And he pursues her diary, and he ends up finding the diary.
Oh, cool.
And if you read the book, you'll know where the diary is today.
There you
where
go.
I think it is.
Well,
Yeah.
well, thank you for stopping by. The Fabulous Gabriel comes all the way from New Jersey to spend an hour with Bob and with you folks. And I'm glad you could spend an hour with Bob. And thank you for joining us. Until next time.